So why has the motorcycle industry been struggling for so long? This is the question that I'd like to address today. In my opinion, it all comes down to the regulations for emissions, licensing and safety. Specifically, how these regulations have affected the development of motorcycles and what we get today. So I'd like to compare old versus new. So starting with the obvious, we have down-tuned engines with controlled power to weight ratios to fit with certain licenses, and to comply with emissions from various governing bodies. Now not only that, but various electronic systems becomes mandatory as well, such as ABS. Now while these systems are kind of pushed for the interest of safety, there are other regulations which are more detrimental, such as noise. I mean, when we're riding down the road, we no longer can emit enough noise so that people in their soundproof boxes listening to loud music can hear us. So what do we get now? We get down-tuned, electronically controlled motorcycles for the new generations. Now with that being said, if you compare a motorcycle from 15 to 20 years ago to a bike that you get today, you just have so much more power and so much more value in the older motorcycle. And that value is not just in the performance, but in the materials and the build quality as well. Because as we move to more budget-friendly entry-level frames, the manufacturing method changes as we're trying to reduce the cost. Unfortunately, that cost reduces the value as well. So this is where we see a lot of steel tubular fabricated frames as opposed to what we would have got 20 years ago. Now that's not to say that these frames are no good, it's just more of from a value perspective. You're getting a lot more value in those motorcycles from 15 years ago than you are today. So let's say we have an old bike and a new bike. Which one are you going to choose? And the old bike, you're going to have a lot more power, better build quality, better materials, and just a better experience at a fraction of the cost. We're most likely going to be choosing that older bike. Let's say we do choose the new bike. Within 2, 3, 4, 5 years, when you're tired of it and you try to sell that bike, you're going to have lost so much value, and it's probably going to sell for the same price as those much older bikes. Adding to the appeal of older bikes is also the ability to diagnose and repair it yourself, as well as the large amount of options you have for aftermarket parts to make that motorcycle your own. So another factor I think that's a problem is the oversaturation of the market. We've got so many different manufacturers producing so many different models, sometimes multiple in the same sector. That could be from like their premium model, the standard model, and then their entry-level model. And I think it's just way too many models flooded the market, and there's not enough customer base to absorb all that investment. So one way manufacturers try to minimize those costs is by creating a platform that they can build multiple models on with that single investment into the chassis development or the engine development, for example. Some good examples of that would be Yamaha and also Triumph. So let's say Yamaha, for example, would probably be a bad example actually. They've developed the MT-07 and they developed the R7, essentially using the same chassis, the same engine, with very minor adjustments with bodywork, for example. And that is essentially the same bike, just with some tweaks, which means that neither of them are really optimized for a single purpose. They're kind of in the middle and then tuned one way or the other, so it's not really ideal. It's not the perfect kind of design. So then compare that to Triumph with the 660 series. They developed the Trident 660, and then throughout the development they also split off and developed the Tiger Sport 660 with a whole new rear subframe, modifications to the main frame, essentially separated. It's a different frame, new suspension setup, whole new ergonomic geometry, because it was built for a different purpose. So it was designed for that different purpose. They are specifically designed for these purposes. So it's a slightly different approach to how Yamaha did it. And I think Triumph hit the nail on the head with the way they developed the motorcycles there, with an exception for the Daytona 660. This was probably more of an afterthought because of the demand for a new Daytona, and there was the potential to release this version with very minimal investment. It's like minimum risk, high reward kind of scenario. Now the problem with these platforms is, yes, it gives us the ability to make more budget frames because we've been able to put all of the investment into one and then split that off into multiple models. The problem that we get though these days is that in order to make a motorcycle budget friendly, we're building it on a budget as well. We're using cheaper methods, cheaper materials, so the customer is also getting a lower value motorcycle, which offsets the, when you compare a new motorcycle to an old motorcycle, the old motorcycle may be 10-15 years old, and you may say maybe it costs this much, but when you compare it to the new motorcycle, the value just isn't there in the new motorcycle. The value is in the old motorcycle. It doesn't matter that it's new. So what do I think needs to be done? I think the manufacturers need to focus on reducing the cost to the customer whilst not reducing the value to the customer. So one idea, for example, would be, say we develop a motorcycle over the course of 4 years, and when we sell that motorcycle, release it onto the market, we expect to sell a certain number of this motorcycle, so we price it at points so we can make sure that we make the development cost back plus the profit margin. At the end of that 4-year cycle, we plan to replace it with another new model. So we put a lot of more development cost into a whole new motorcycle. Why? Why not invest the money into developing the engine, which is the regulated part? That's going to keep it alive, it's going to keep that model running. So why do we design a whole new motorcycle when we've already got a very good platform there, which has already been designed and developed? What's most important at that point is to develop the engine to make sure it stays within regulations. And at that point, you've already recovered your development costs for the original design. Then all you're recovering then is the development cost for the engine. Your development of the tooling and the testing and everything for the motorcycle before has already been covered. Yes, you may need to buy new tools, but we don't have to worry about development costs anymore. So we can really reduce the cost by just allowing the motorcycle to continue to sell beyond the initial planned period, and you can drop the cost of that motorcycle by, 20%, 30%, and you can still make the same profit margin you made beforehand. And I think this would be one of the most effective ways to ensure that the customer keeps the value at a lower cost. Secondly, I want to see manufacturers continue with the development of internal combustion engines. I don't want to see them all rushing or pushing, racing to get to electric. I think that's an awful move caused by the government and the governing bodies pushing industry into electrification when not only the industry is not ready, but I think the infrastructure is not ready for total electrification. What I think would be better would be to continue development of the internal combustion engines and then focus on development of hybrid motorcycles. So that's what I like to see: internal combustion engines and then hybrids as the developing technology. We also have to consider that different regions have different culture, motorcycle culture. So if you were to say take Thailand, for example, you just see hundreds and hundreds of small capacity motorcycles. Same for India. They are heavy commuters with motorcycles compared to Europe, where there's not much commuting. It's mostly weekend rides, some touring, some off-road. It's a completely different market. So I think we also need some support from the governing bodies. I think they need to consider where electrification is suitable and where it just will not be suitable. For instance, touring on large capacity motorcycles, it can't be beaten by electrification, not anytime soon. So in cases like this, they need to loosen up their regulations or their deadlines to allow the government to allow the manufacturers to develop the hybrid technology first and really start progressing. I just think it's not something that should be pushed onto every industry, not all at the same time, not so fast. Definitely need some time to at least develop hybrid technology in this industry first. So this is just a small fraction of what I've got going up in here regarding the motorcycle industry. I'd be interested to see whether you agree or disagree, or have anything else to add. Please leave your comments in the section down below. I'll see you next time.